Author and Harvard professor and contributing writer for The Atlantic, Arthur C. Brooks. He's written a new book, From Strength to Strength, Finding Success, Happiness, and Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Life. Arthur, great to have you this morning. I cannot wait to read the book. I'm a big fan of your How to Build a Life column in The Atlantic. I find myself sharing it with my kids all the time. And I hear you have a great story about how you found the idea for this book.
Yeah, George, I write about people at all different phases of life, and I'm a specialist in human happiness, but I had this weird experience several years ago. I was sitting on a plane, it was at night, and I heard a couple talking behind me. They were an elderly couple. I was not trying to eavesdrop, but I heard the husband telling the wife that he wished he were dead. And I thought, well, this is horrible. And he started talking about how his life, it was disappointing and unsatisfying, and people had left him behind. And I thought, well, this is somebody who's probably hasn't lived up to his own achievements, or at least his own expectations. Well, the lights went on at the end of the flight, and I turned around just to get a glimpse, and it turned out to be literally one of the most famous men in the world. And I thought to myself, we need to understand what happens at the second half of life. Look, if this guy can't count on satisfaction in the second half of life, what hope do I have? So I started a project as a social scientist to map out the secrets so that we don't have to leave happiness in the second half of life up to chance.
And what is it like calling yourself a specialist in human happiness?
Yeah, I know. I'm a social scientist. I specialize in behavior, and I teach it at Harvard University. And I've deployed all of the tools of the social scientist to what we know about human happiness. But this is really my first project into human happiness and, for the rest of us, George.
You have something, you label something called the striver's curse. What is that? How do we fight it?
Well, one of the interesting things is that you find that after about 65 years old, people break up into two groups in happiness. Half get happier and happier till the end of their lives, and the others start going back down in happiness. And it turns out that the people who are going down, many of the people tend to be real strivers, people who've looked for excellence, who've done a lot with their lives. They're the people you'd think that would be the least likely to go back down in happiness. And yet what happens is that what goes up must come down, and all the things you're trying to build in your life, when you actually see them in the rearview mirror, that tends to be very frustrating. And that's one of the reasons that I call it the striver's curse.
You also write about the 7 predictors of being happy and well. What's the number one?
Yeah. The number one is actually this unbelievable secret that I can't believe everybody doesn't know about, but it's in the book, which is that everybody gets a second success curve. The first success curve is what made you good at your job, made you good at your life, made you kind of excellent in the first place. And that comes back down, which is natural, but there's a second success curve behind it. You need to go from energy and brains to wisdom. What I find is that when people consider themselves teachers, whether they're actually teachers or not, if they go to sharing ideas, they're very good at it after the age of 50. The best professors at my university, the people who get the best teaching evaluations, are on average over 70. And what we find is that the human brain lends itself to this second success curve. It's called the crystallized intelligence curve. So go from being the striver, go from being the inventor, to becoming the master teacher in the second half of your life.
What's your best practical advice on how to do that, how to shift gears?
It's to actually consider that if you leave something behind with courage, with love, and look for wisdom and find ways to share your wisdom in your walk of life, you're going to be on the right curve. This is the key idea, is thinking to yourself, like, what do I know uniquely that I can pass on, and how can I do it best to people who are younger than me? That's the way to actually get on the second curve.
You're also proposing something brand new. You say it's a reverse bucket list.
Yeah. This is one of the most important things that people need to do if they want to be happy. This is another one of the secrets to being happy. The happiest people, when they get older, they don't keep accumulating. They start chipping away parts of their life to find their true selves. And so the bucket list is this idea that we've always heard about, where every year on your birthday, you make a list of your cravings and your attachments and your ambitions. You're studying the things that you don't have. It lowers your life satisfaction. The reverse bucket list, on the other hand, that's where you look at all your ambitions and cravings, or your struggles and your attachments, and you put your hand in the bucket and you say, I am no longer attached to this and this and this, and making it cognitive, making it conscious in your mind, you will become more detached. And by managing your wants, it's like magic. The happiest people, when they get older, they don't have more, they want less.
A lot of great practical wisdom there. Arthur C. Brooks, thanks very much for coming in this morning. The book is called From Strength to Strength. It hits bookstores on February 15th.